Good morning folks, welcome back to the channel. My name's John, as you probably guessed from the channel, and I'm in the middle of building my Peugeot Boxer builder's van into a camper van. So far I've got everything I need on the outside. I've got lights, bars, windows, vinyl wrap, doors on the back, lights on the roof, but the interior, well, it's still half built. And in fact, I don't actually like it anymore. Well, there are certain things I want to change anyway. So I've been living in my camper van now, like this, for around about 6 to 8 weeks, something like that. We've been away in a little bit, so I've had experience of using it, and I've come across a few things that, well, they're just not right. So I am actually going to take everything back to the walls. Obviously my walls are these lovely Solway panels, so they're staying, but the kitchen's coming out, these dividers, they're coming out, my toilet's coming out, and my bed's coming out. Why, do you ask? Why would you do that to yourself, John? To be fair, I'm not ripping it out and like trashing it. I'm ripping it out to finish it. So most of this, all this, was put in so that I could do the trip that I did to Ukraine middle of December last year. And in all fairness, it was done temporarily. It was never intended to be this as the finished surface. And, you know, it was just to get me going. Because these types of things I build off to do my top cupboards over the top. So until this is finished and it's ready and it's fixed in and it's got the finished surface on it and everything else, I can't put my top cupboards in. And I'm so desperate to put my top cupboards in just because I've got no storage, basically. So I am living in a van out of cardboard boxes and things like that, and it's not ideal, in all fairness. It's less than ideal. It's a freaking pain in the arse. So there are some problems I've found along the way. For example, these partitions have been made too thin. They're supposed to be partitions, so they're actually hollow. There's a bit of timber and 2 bits of thin ply either side of that. And it was supposed to be that that would be enough to put wall sockets in and hide the sockets in here. But they've been made too thin so that my CBE sockets don't actually fit in the cavity. If I was to drill it, they'd have to come out the other side as well. There are other little bits of design things that don't quite work. There's issues with the fridge and freezer on the drawer runners and the cabinet, in the fact that when the compressor motor kicks in on both of them, it kind of vibrates the cabinet. So I need to strengthen the cabinet, and I might even put some sound deadening in. I've got to put some vents in the cabinet anyway, so the motors and the fans and everything on the fridge and freezer can vent better. But in order to cure the noise, because these things switch on and off during the night, and the colder it is and the more I use my diesel heater overnight, the more the fridge and freezer kick in and out, obviously, because the ambient temperature of the van's higher, so they're trying to work to keep the temperature of the fridge and freezer cooler. So I need to stop them vibrating. When the motor kicks in, it kind of judders, which makes a bit of a noise like that, and that can wake you up because it sounds like someone's on the outside of the van. You know, I'm climbing in the van or trying the door or something like that. I need to put some doors on the cupboard under my sink, and I'm hoping that I can create some drawers as well at the side of the sink, because there's enough space down the right hand side, so get some drawers in there for little bits of cutlery and stuff like that. I started off this whole thing by saying my design ideas are based on the fact that, you know, I've had 3 motorhomes. One was made by Bessica, which is Swift. One was made by Bursner, and the other one was made by Autofail. And there are elements of those vans and the way they were designed and the way they were constructed and, you know, sort of fit and finish and things like that, that I have learnt from, because some were great and some were not. But ultimately, you know, that amalgamation of the 3 different vans, taking them to part, stuff like that, has given me the information that I need to not only make something, you know, that's going to last. So hopefully be a bit better quality than perhaps the auto fail, but also to fit my needs, so that I know that not to engineer wasted space in a vehicle, because some of them did that. You know, like they'd box sections in just to hide cables behind them, but they create a massive box section rather than a little box section, which is, like I said, just wasted space really. So I know not to do that, which means I've got to work out, you know, clever and more discreet cable structures, which the Bursner did quite well, but they used false bottoms in the cupboards and to hide, you know, where the lights clipped in and all the wires and everything, which did mean that you lost maybe sort of 15 centimeters. I don't have the height in here to, you know, lose that much space from a cupboard. So it may well be that I'll just use cable conduit around the back and just clip it to the back of the cupboard or up at the top, just out of the way sort of thing, because then it's not going to interfere with anything you put inside. Nothing's going to bang on it or anything like that, and it won't interfere with all the other space and everything else you want to get out of it as well. So just hints and tips like that really that I picked up. Each cupboard will more than likely have a shelf, because most things that are going to be put in my cupboard are either going to be clothes that are folded up as best as I can, shoved in, rolled up, whichever way, and then bits of food. Cupboards are great for hiding just tins and packets and things like that. All my big stuff like you know, my air fryer or George Foreman grill, induction hob, pans and all that kind of stuff, they'll put it lower down, and they'll probably be under the sink or under the seat that I'm sat on here right now. And that's another bit of a modification, the seat. Top access is just problematic. If the table's up, getting access via the top into the seat is a bit of a pain. So I'm either going to go with doors or just doors that flap down, doors that open, whatever, or maybe even drawers for storage under the seat, just so that it's a little bit more accessible. The seat works great, albeit the fact that I may slightly widen the base, but I can do that just by creating a wider piece of wood that sits on top, and therefore a wider cushion that goes over that. People asked about the cushions and everything for the seat. I just bought a cheap mattress off Amazon. It was £89, and one of those stretchy cushion covers that you see as well for about £9, and then cut both up to make a back, which is quite comfy, and a base, which is quite comfy, and then roughly do, and I use some 5.5mm scrap ply that was used around the van when it was a builder's van, to staple, you know, the cover over, and that's all I've done. But I am going to get them professionally done, and I'm going to get the material that's going to cover these to match the front seats, or rather I'm going to get the front seats reupholstered to match the seat covers for these. I may actually reduce the internal size of the toilet by moving this wall back a bit, because it was never my intention that this wall came to the side of this frame. It was my intention that really the edge of this frame would be the edge of the wall, which means possibly about 5 centimeters, moving it back that way 5 centimeters. There's plenty of room inside the toilet anyway for that, just so that it doesn't clash with the edge of the window frame, but the end of this kind of wall surround frame just looks a bit aesthetically a little bit better, I think. So I'm probably going to finish off all these with vinyl wrap. I've been playing around with basically trying to finish Mandy's kitchen off at the moment, and with different types of vinyl, and pretty much every vinyl I've played with sticks to this ply really well. So as far as the van is concerned, it passed its MOT on Monday. Winning. I got a brilliant question actually the other day, which is can anybody point me in the direction of the van tour video for this finish? I can't find the van finished yet. Yeah, thanks for that. I can't find one of the van finished either. So that's enough waffle for me this week. I shall catch you next week, where hopefully, if all goes well over the next few days, I'll be back in the workshop and be stripping out the van and finishing it off. I'll be going through the processes of that and how I'm going to finish it off for your viewing pleasure. So have a great weekend, folks. I'll catch you next week. Bye.